All right, here we go. Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this post-game edition of Believers Talk. Unfortunately, if you are a Bills fan, it's not the best of post games as the Buffalo Bills lose to the Cleveland Browns yesterday, falling 19-6. This makes the Buffalo Bills record 6-3 on the season. The Cleveland Browns improve to 3-6 on the season. We're going to talk about the good. We're going to talk about the bad. And we're going to talk about some of the ugly of this game. And unfortunately, again, it doesn't go the way as the Buffalo Bills. But again, guys, this is Veterans Day, so I do want to wish all the veterans out there a happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service. And again, if you haven't watched it already, before this video earlier today, I did post a video thanking our veterans on this Veterans Day. So make sure you check that out. But again, guys, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment as we are live. We'll continue to go over everything Buffalo Bills. We go over Buffalo Sabres news. Buffalo Sabres currently on a 5-game losing streak as well. So maybe that's why it feels like the ceiling is falling in on Buffalo sports fans, because we don't have much to cheer about recently in Buffalo sports. You talk about this Bills team constantly struggling. You talk about the Sabres team now going on a losing streak. It's been a little rough recently for the Buffalo Bills. We're getting close to halftime of the Monday Night Football game. As you guys know, I go live during halftime of these of the primetime football games. Go live on Thursday during halftime of Thursday Night Football, and then I go live on Monday during Monday Night Football as well. Thursday, giving you my pregame to the game coming up this week, and then Friday giving you, or Monday, giving you my post game to the game the day before. So again, guys, welcome to Believers Talk. Close to halftime. Let me get the score for you guys of the game going on right now. Last I saw was 10-7 in favor of the San Francisco 49ers. So if you're a San Fran fan, hey, you guys are undefeated and you're looking good from what I saw so far in this game. Less than 2 minutes to go. Seattle has the ball, trailing 10-7. So again, thank you guys for joining me for this post-game edition of Believers Talk. We have some notes, and guys, listen, I know that a lot of people are going to talk about the bad of this game, right? And there's a lot of bad to go around. Hey, Kenneth Osborne, how you doing? Thank you for joining the stream. There's a lot of bad to go around, and I understand that, but I just don't understand what people were expecting. I don't understand what Bills fans were expecting. Were they expecting this to be easy? Were they expecting this to be quick? What were they expecting from this process? Were they expecting us, oh, we're winning now, so all of a sudden it's going to be all, sunshine and rainbows? No, it's going to take time. We're 6-3. I've been saying this since the beginning. We're way ahead of schedule, and we're winning while we're doing it. It's actually a plus. I don't understand what people are so upset about. Has Josh Allen looked like he's regressed at times? Maybe. But again, you're talking about 3 or 4 games in a row now where he hasn't thrown an interception. And that's one thing people are yelling at him for. Yelling at him, hey, stop throwing interceptions. Stop turning the ball over. Now, he does have that one scary fumble in this game. Luckily, it was recovered by John Feliciano on the goal line. And man, talk about an athletic play by John Feliciano. But I just don't understand some Bills fans. Now, it's okay to be critical of this team. I understand that, but there's no reason to feel like the sky is falling here. We're 6-3. We're still the 5th seed, right? And although I said it in the pregame for this game, and I meant it, and I still mean it, that we needed to win this game to be considered a threat to the New England Patriots, we're still fighting for that wild card spot. And I've also said, once you get to the dance, it doesn't matter how you get to the dance. As long as you get to the dance, then you can worry about who you're going to dance with and how you're going to dance, and if you can pull off that upset in the wild card round. We've seen 6 seeds and 5 seeds make it to the playoffs before, barely squeak in, and then make big runs when it comes to the playoffs, including win some Super Bowls, right? The Giants did it, and the Giants as a wild card team beat the 19-0 at the time New England Patriots. So, and Baltimore is done with Joe Flacco. If they can do it, why can't we do the same thing? I'm not saying we are going to do the same thing, but again, the sky is not falling here. We're 6-3. I know we've looked terrible at times. I know we've looked pretty good at times, but that's what's going to happen with a barely, I'll say, above average team, which is what we are. We're barely above average, which again, in my estimation, is a little bit ahead of schedule. I said at the beginning of the season, and I'll stick by it, that as long as we finished above 500, 9-7, then we were on the right track. I know we got off to a great start. We were 5-1. Everything's looking great. We're excited. And then all of a sudden, now what? We're 6-3. So now people are saying, the sky is falling. I just don't agree with that sentiment. And again, we're gonna go over some of the good from this game. We're gonna go over some of the bad. I'm not gonna harp on the bad because everyone else is. It seems like a lot of people in Bills Mafia are harping on the bad. I mean, we just saw a field goal made. Hey Daniel, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't already. Although I know Kenneth and Daniel are always in here, so I appreciate your support for the channel. But again, guys, I'm not gonna harp on the bad because there's already been so much bad talked about, and it seems like on Twitter or on Facebook or wherever you go that it's just the Bluebirds, right? Everyone's talking about how terrible this team is all of a sudden because we lost a game. The Saints lost to the Falcons. The Colts lost to the Dolphins. Lots of things happened yesterday, and if you're a Saints fan, you're not jumping off a cliff. You're upset about the loss, but again, you're not jumping off a cliff. Oh, and by the way, the Falcons beat New Orleans in New Orleans, which is hard enough to do, and yet they did it. So let's not act like it's the end of the world because we lost to the Browns. We're 6-3. We're still the 5 seed. I mean, things fell in place for us yesterday pretty good. We'd love to see the Steelers lose to the Rams, but having the Colts lose to the Dolphins, that's not a bad thing. Now we do go into Miami and play the Dolphins on a 2-game winning streak, but I still think we're the better team, right? I still believe that we're the better team in that situation. But let's talk a little. The Bills have the second best record in the AFC. Yeah, but people don't want to talk about that, right? They want to talk about how bad this team looks in certain situations, and we do. I'm not going to say we don't, but come on, let's relax a little bit. Relax. If you watch my live stream yesterday as I did the live play-by-play, I don't relax much during the game. But man, after the game, like I said, I rewatched the game. It gives me time to relax and just calm down and say, hey, this is our team. Again, a little above average, a great defense, right? At least pass defense, and an offense that seems inept at times. Whether you want to blame the head coach, whether you want to blame the offensive coordinator, whether you want to blame the quarterback, it doesn't matter who you blame at this point. They just gotta get it together. Hey, Jay Cage, I think we are one draft away from being consistent playoff contenders. Look at what we've done in the draft over the past 2 years. I think we've done great in the draft. Even if you don't think Josh Allen's the answer, which he still does have some things to prove, but I think he's proven a lot as well. If you don't think Josh Allen's the answer, we have still done great in the draft the past two seasons. Even if you look at a guy like Vosean Joseph, who hasn't played it down for the Buffalo Bills in the regular season, he looked really good in preseason, right? And if he is anything as good as he looks to be, we have a steal there, another steal at that linebacker position, which it seems like Coach McDermott, Coach Leslie Frazier, they're turning things around a little bit when it comes to that linebacker position, right? They're able to get linebackers in there. They found Matt Milano late in the 5th round, and now they found this Vosean Joseph in the 5th round. They look like they can find linebackers to fill in roles at certain times in the scheme to fit, and that's great, especially with Lorenzo Alexander possibly being out next season. We have someone who can fill in that role. Daniel says, I hear you, the Bills drop a game and fans act like the sky's falling. And that's just how it is. That's just how it is. And I don't know if it's every fan base and I'm just not seeing it, but it's definitely a true story with the Bills Mafia. And I love Bills Mafia. I love the fact that I'm part of Bills Mafia, but you got to relax a little bit. You got to relax a little bit. And again, we are 6-3, second best record in the AFC, 5th seed overall. I think this loss puts us at contention as far as the AFC East goes. But anything can happen in the NFL. Still a long season, 7 games to go, and the Patriots face a tough schedule, a gauntlet type that we do too. And anyone can win any of these games. I mean, that's the thing. The refs stole this game from us. I don't care what anyone says. Hughes recovered that fumble and scored. The TD says sports dom. Let me ask you this question. If Allen does that with McKenzie and they rule that a fumble, are you happy? Do you say, yes, that's a fumble, or do you come in here and say, the ref screwed us, it wasn't a fumble? Because you have to make that distinction. We run that jet sweep play all the time. And let's say he drops it into McKenzie's hands, and it goes right through again. And it's ruled a fumble, and it's returned for a touchdown. Are you coming on here and are you saying, oh, it wasn't a fumble, the ref screwed us? or you're saying, you know what, they called it one way the one game, they have to call it the other way this game, okay? And that's the question you got to ask yourself. Now, I do go back to last season. Last season, we had a jet sweep play where it looked like Allen pitched it to, it was either McKenzie or Foster, whoever it was, hit him in the helmet. They went back like 5-10 yards and they ruled it a fumble. We reviewed it on instant replay, still ruled a fumble. And I think that was more of an incomplete pass than the one yesterday. But as long as they're consistent with it, which they weren't in that situation, but as long as they're consistent with it, then I'm okay with that being ruled an incomplete pass. As long as the next time I see it, it's ruled an incomplete pass again. That's what I want to say. If it was a fumble, I'd say it was a fumble. Well, then, but what consists of a fumble then? Again, if the same thing happens, the same exact play, you're coming on here and you're saying, oh, it was a fumble, no big deal. Because I guarantee you most of Bills Mafia won't be saying that. Most of Bills Mafia will be coming on here saying, oh, the ref screwed us. Oh, that wasn't a fumble, that was an incomplete pass, yada, 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 yada. Well, if that's the case, then again, you can't be upset with yesterday's call. Like, you have to be consistent in your arguments. I thought it was an incomplete pass. Again, if we run that jet sweep play, which we do all the time, I want being called an incomplete pass. You know that if he catches that ball, if he catches that ball and runs it to the outside, do they count as passing stats or rushing stats? They count as passing stats. Well, if it's a pass, it's a pass, and it's incomplete if it's not. I think Dable will be a better play caller from the booth as opposed to on the field, says Richard Greenwood. If you remember last season, he actually started in the booth when we thought that we were originally going to go with Nathan Peterman as our quarterback. He actually was up in the booth, and he has done that before. He actually likes it better in the booth, but since Josh Allen's been there, he's always been on the field. But that point is well taken because, again, he has done that in the past. So let me get some more of these comments. Apparently, people are comparing us to the 2011 Broncos. Loaded BS. You can't compare one team to another at any point in your career. You can't compare one team to another. Disagree about the Hughes call. It was a forward pass, no question. Again, it's really a matter of perspective. His arm was not moving forward. There was no shovel. It doesn't matter if his arm's moving forward or not. It does not matter. If he touches it and he pushes it forward, which and from every angle I saw, it looks like it was pushed forward, then it's going to be ruled an incomplete pass every single time. Move on, it was incomplete. The replay clearly showed it was a forward pass. Well, again, and to Richard's point, we have to move, like, that's the call on the field. And again, I want to see consistency with that call. And that's all I want to see is consistency. So if I see that again and they rule it a fumble, and then we have a problem, right? Then we have a problem. But as long as it's consistently ruled an incomplete pass, then I'm going to say I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it being incomplete pass. The moment I saw the instant replay, I called it on the live stream. I said, it's incomplete, guys. We have a third down that we have to stop. And I think we did stop them at that third down, forced them to punt. We got the ball back. So I'm not going to sit here and say the refs screwed us because we had plenty of time, right? The refs didn't screw us with a minute 44 to go, down by 3. We screwed ourselves there. Like, we had chances to win this game. Even if you think the refs screwed us in that situation, we still had chances to win this game. You cannot rely on the refs to win a game for you, or you can't rely on the refs to make a close call for you. You have to beat a team badly enough where the refs don't matter. The refs don't matter. What the refs call does not matter. So let's start with the bad in this game. And, I think I'd be remiss if we don't start with the coaching. And I put coaching. I don't just put Brian Dable in here. When I heard what Coach McDermott said in the post-game press conference about playing for a tie, that really made me mad. That made me madder than watching the game. And you know how mad I was watching the game if you watch the live stream. I was not too happy with the way the Bills finished out this game. But you're playing for a tie. You're at the 41-yard line of Cleveland with over a minute to go, and you settle for a 53-yard field goal. That's unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. I mean, you have a guy in Stephen Hauschka, and I don't blame him for the missed 53-yarder, guys. I blame, again, the coaching staff. You have a guy, now I think a kicker should make a 53-yarder. I always think that kicker should, I wish we had Justin Tucker on our team who just believes, hey, my job's easy. Let me do my job right. But Stephen Hauschka missed 4 consecutive 50-yard field goals, 50-plus yard field goals so far this season. He has not made a 50-plus yard field goal this season. And you're okay selling with a 53-yard field goal. You have the ball at the 44, 41-yard line of Cleveland with a timeout, and you have a minute to go, and you don't get any closer than the 35, 37, whatever it was, to try a 53-yard field goal. That's unacceptable. Make better play calls. The time management at the end of the game was absolutely ridiculous. I put that on Coach McDermott. I do not put that on Brian Daboll. The play calling on the offense might be on Brian Daboll, but not using that timeout is on Coach McDermott. If you're talking about the sidelines, I'm not sure if this is how it works in the NFL. I know this is how it works in high school, but if you're on the sideline, you're talking about calling timeout, only the head coach can call a timeout. Any player on the field can call a timeout, but only the head coach on the sideline can call a timeout. So he needs to know when to use that timeout. They huddle up on third down, taking 15, 20, 25 seconds off the clock. They try to force Cleveland to jump off sides on fourth down, which is absolutely mind-boggling, absolutely ridiculous before they use their timeout. I just didn't like that play at all. The Browns still had 80 yards to go. The D only needed to keep them out of the end zone. Absolutely. That's 100% true. Again, the refs didn't screw us, even if that call should have been a fumble. We screwed ourselves. We had plenty of time to score. We didn't have to let them score a touchdown, and they did. There were plenty of other opportunities to win this game. Ask yourself this: who is elite on the Bills? When other teams play us, who do they fear playing for? Don't say the defense. No one fears playing us. Jack, they don't have to fear playing us. It's not about fearing. We shouldn't fear playing anybody. Who are we fearing playing Cleveland? Odell? No, we knew we'd have Odell on lockdown. Jarvis Landry? No, we were just worried about him taking a cheap shot. Who are we fearing? It's not about fearing people. It's about doing your job. If everyone yesterday for the Buffalo Bills did their job, no matter if we have someone to fear or not, we would have won that game. But everyone didn't do the job. And by everyone doing the job, I again include the coaching staff. And to that point, you only run Devin Singletary 8 times. If you want to talk about someone to possibly fear on this Buffalo Bills team, run out Devin Singletary because he was averaging over 5 yards a carry, and you still stopped him. You still stopped him from running the ball. Why? Why does he only run the ball 8 times on the 31st worst run defense? That's a guy that teams can fear. That's a guy that teams can have the scheme for. We saw him against the Jets. We saw him against the Giants. We know what he can do in open field, and yet nothing. Nothing. Not multiple attempts at a screen pass. I think there were 2 or 3 screen attempts to Devin Singletary that, for the most part, the Browns, sniffed out pretty good. But again, he's averaging 5 yards. Tough running by Devin Singletary. A lot of plays. There was one play in particular. I thought he was stopped at the goal line. He himself pushes forward for 4 yards. And you know what? You say, oh, it's only 4 yards. No, it's a huge play. 2nd and 9 compared to 2nd and 6 is totally different. So you want to talk about fearing possibly somebody. Devin Singletary is your guy. Remember in the pregame, I said we should be running the ball 40-plus times in this game. What do? We run for 20. Nick Chubb himself ran for 20. All right? We run 20 times. That's unacceptable. Against the 31st worst run defense, that's just unacceptable. I don't understand the play calling in that situation. It makes no sense. Makes no sense. I was screaming at that point, says Kenneth Osborne. McDermott has been consistently bad at time management challenges and other in-game making decisions, says Heather. I completely agree with you. And I love Coach McDermott's mindset from Monday to Sunday before the game. But in game, man, it's just tough sometimes for him. It really is. I don't know what he needs to do to improve on that. I don't know at this point if he can, right? This is year 3 for Coach McDermott. And again, he has this team doing a lot better than last year, right? 6-3 instead of finishing 6-10. But just don't know if it's going to get much better for him. But he goes where Josh Allen goes and vice versa. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, again, we need to see more growth with Josh Allen. They got rid of a lot of coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball last offseason. The only guy left is Brian Daboll. We'll see if he can make it through another season or not. The lack of touches for Singletary is mind-boggling. I completely agree. Scott Blakely, clearly outcoached by Kitchens. That was on... and the fact that you got outcoached by Kitchens really tells you something. Because Kitchens is still on the hot seat. He's not off of it by any means for beating the Bills. But give Vegas credit, right? Vegas was dead on. They had the spread to start at 3 points. It moved to 2.5, but looks like the Browns covered that 3 points. McDermott definitely needs to raise his game day management significantly. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he can do that at this point, but that's definitely something he needs to do, especially on the offensive side of the ball with time management. When it comes now, he's not like Freddie Kitchens calling a timeout with 3 seconds to go in the third quarter to make the Bills make a decision on fourth down. But he did that in the past. Again, week 4 against Patriots, we have 0 timeouts with 14:50 to go in the fourth quarter. So, and what turned to be a 6-point game. So, obviously, those are things that he needs to work on. And that goes to my first bad, which is that coaching staff. Again, both Dable and Coach McDermott deserve some of the blame on this one. Not running Singletary more, the clock management. It's just, there's a lot of bad happened in this game. And it needs to be addressed by somebody, by the GM. I don't know if Brandon Beane can do anything about it. I have no idea at this point what needs to happen, but something needs to happen to help out the coaching staff. My second bad of this game, and you guys will all agree with me on this, Levi Wallace. Now, although Levi Wallace did lead the team after the trade deadline, what avenues of getting new players exist going forward? Just free agency. That's it. Who's available in free agency, and that's how we got Corey Legit. That's how we got Vincent Taylor. So we have to look at free agency if you're looking at different players. But Levi Wallace just was beat on every single play. It seemed like they were targeting Levi Wallace for good reason. First, and we'll get to this when I talk about the good, Trey White was shutting down Odell, right? And then Jarvis Landry comes in, he scores a touchdown their first drive. Who does he beat? Oh yeah, Levi Wallace. And then of course that last drive, the touchdown to give the Cleveland Browns the lead and eventually the game. Who was being on that play? Oh yeah, Levi Wallace. Levi Wallace needs help out there. And when you're leaving him on the island, that's that. You want to leave Trey White on the island. I don't care if he's going up against Odell. Leave Trey White on the island and bring a safety over to help Levi Wallace in that situation because he can't do it on his own. And that's just really a bad play by Levi Wallace. Can be on the inside like that on that last touchdown. He really needs to do a better job in that situation. We need to be able to rely on our cornerback number 2 in this situation to make that stop. Just unable to do it. Welcome, Ronald, to the broadcast. Thank you for joining me again. Everyone, if you're new, hit that like button. And again, hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to Bill-ievers Talk for continual Buffalo Bills news, including play-by-play reaction and or game day play-by-play and reaction to every single Buffalo Bills game, whether it be myself or hashtag sports. That includes this Sunday against the Miami Dolphins in Miami. So again, join us this Sunday as we give you the game live play-by-play reaction to the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. I look forward to it. I still look forward to Buffalo Bills game day. Again, we only have 7 left, guys, so gotta enjoy it while we can. We couldn't get Singletary Ruggs because we faced 8 in the box. That's what they are saying. Seriously, what lack of creativity. Well, okay, we were facing 8 in the box. We were facing 8 in the box in the eight carries they had, and still 5 yards to carry. We might have been facing 8 in the box, but still get Singletary the ball. They're still the 31st worst run defense, and that's not because their 8th guy is that much better and he can help out. I'm sure they had 8 in the box before, and they still get beat. So I think that needs to be addressed if that's what they're thinking on the offensive side of the ball. We should have gave Wallace some help across the middle or deep, or they should have Yeah, honestly, when Johnson came in, he did a lot better. Right, Johnson. I thought Teron Johnson did a lot better in this game than Levi Wallace because it wasn't hard to do. But every time Teron Johnson was in there, it seemed like they got things done, or Kevin Johnson, whoever it was. So if you think it's on Dable, if you think it's all on Dable, first of all, if you think it's all on Dable, I'm not saying, for example, I'm not talking about you specifically, Ronald Enix. But if you're thinking it's on Dable, then you have to give Josh Allen a little slack, right? Or if you're thinking it's all on Josh Allen, you got to give Dable a little slack. You can't be one of those guys who wants Dable fired and wants Josh Allen gone. And by the way, who wants Josh Allen gone? Okay, I know he's not the best quarterback. I know he's not. But you know what getting rid of Josh Allen does for this team's future? Leaves it very much in the air. And I'm not saying it's not in the air right now with Josh Allen. I'm saying give this kid time to improve some more. He's shown improvement. 2 games over 70% completion percentage this season. There were a couple of drop passes in yesterday's game that really need to be caught. I'm talking about one by Andre Roberts. I'm talking about one by Dawson Knox on the 3rd down. These passes need to be caught. And, he can't be blamed for all of those. He just can't. Why would you call 35 pass plays and 14 runs? We talked about, I don't know. And only 8 to 7. I don't know. I really don't know. Not getting rid of Dable this season, says Daniel. No, I agree with that. I don't think we are. Allen is being suppressed, and they are turning an elite player into a game manager. It's sad, making Josh paranoid to throw interceptions, hence overthrows. He was throwing overthrows to start the season, too. right? I get what you're saying about the overthrows, but when he was throwing interceptions earlier this season, he was still overthrowing the ball. So it's not like weeks 1 through 4 he was throwing the ball on point and throwing some interceptions. No, he was still overthrowing players then. So and maybe that's something we need to look into, right? Maybe we need to let Josh Allen go and say, because we're part of the problem. The skepticism about the interceptions puts on us too, right? Because they hear that. They hear all of it, whether they want to admit to it or not, whether they want to pretend like they're Nick Saban or Bill Belichick and act like they don't hear anything, or they're okay and they know what's going on. They hear what we're saying, and they know if they're on the hot seat or not. And it gets to them. It gets to them. So Knox had 2 drops, I believe, possibly. Knox had a couple good catches too, so he had an up and down day. Worked for Favre, said Scott Blakely. Can't be any other reason for a single Terry, I think, a single carry. We aren't getting the truth on players' health. Well, maybe that's a problem too, because I mean, we had an injury report that said we're 100% healthy, and some players didn't get the ball. Duke Williams was still on the inactive list. Don't know why that is. I feel like Duke Williams being in at times instead of an Andre Roberts would have helped out. I saw Andre Roberts in there and wondered if he was the best player for that position at the time that we have on our roster. Duke Williams definitely could have taken some of those passing plays and possibly even caught some of them over the middle of the field that Josh Allen threw, other than an Andre Roberts. Now, obviously, Andre Roberts would stay on the roster as a special teams guy, but he's not a number 3 wide receiver, even number 4. He's your number 5 wide receiver, hopefully, most of the time. So Josh has to stop fumbling the ball. Also, he missed a few receivers that were wide open a few times. Not to mention all of those long shots. I mean, everyone's talking about that third down play at the end of the game where he has Cole Beasley wide open, throws it up to John Brown. He's definitely looking at when he has a route that he likes. He's definitely looking at one receiver and throwing the ball, whether it be accurate or not. So he does need to stop that. He needs to read his progressions, know what the time is on the clock, and know what the game situation is to make those plays. And why the hell would you go for a long shot on 3rd and 3? Asked Ronald. Duke's hands greater than Ronald's. Yeah, Robert's hands. Yeah, Jack Patrick, absolutely. And I don't know why Duke again was on the inactive list at certain times in that game. I thought he would be a perfect spot. I knew it was something in the 40s, said Ronald Enix. Robert in the return duty. Duke Williams should be in for McKenzie. I think we should have Duke and McKenzie in there. McKenzie on those jet sweep type, he definitely makes the defense account for him, right? He definitely adds to the misdirection of this team. I think we should have all the receivers in there. I don't think I saw Croft do anything in this game. I don't think I saw Tyler Croft do anything in this game. Lee Smith, he did worse. He did worse. So you talk about the play of our tight ends. You had Dawson Knox had an up and down day, right? Had a couple big catches, had a few drops. So he had an up and down day. Lee Smith, down. And Tyler Croft, just unknown, right? Unknown. I did not see him at all in this game, so why not bring in Duke Williams and leave McKenzie in there and get rid of, we had Tommy Sweeney out there. Bring Tommy Sweeney in there and put Lee Smith and Tyler Knox out on the inactive list. Who cares? Lee is a walking penalty flag. He was. You're guaranteed at least one big penalty from Lee Smith a game, and he had 2 in this game. He had 2 back-breaking, momentum-changing penalties. We had the momentum on our side both those times. Huge penalties. Too many tight ends doing nothing. And you're absolutely right. Then you get the run-pass option. Then the bomb can work, says Jack Patrick. The bomb will work if Josh Allen could throw the ball accurately, because he's overthrowing him by 5 to 10 yards every single time. I wonder if Lee is flammable. You guys are funny. But again, thank you guys for joining me on Believers Talk. Again, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like this video. Let people know we're out there. And so I want to get to my third bad, which has to be Stephen Hauschka. What happened to Stephen Hausch money, right? He's not Hausch money anymore. As someone said yesterday, now he's nickels and dimes, right? I think we said that in the chat room yesterday. That was pretty funny. But anyway, yeah, Stephen Hauschka with 2 missed field goals. One right before half, a 34-yarder. We just saw Chase McLaughlin, who used to be with the Bills, hit a 41-yarder in the Monday Night Football game. Just today, he hit a 41-yarder. But yeah, he could have hit a 34-yarder yesterday at halftime. But what do? We signed an extension. We signed Stephen Hauschka to a 2-year extension. Now, it's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money for kickers, but it's not a lot of money. If there's someone better at free agency, maybe it's time to think about going to get him. I don't think there's anyone out there who's better than Stephen Hauschka in free agency. You can mark it up as a bad game if you want, but again, he's 0 for 4, 0 for 5 on 50-plus yard field goals so far this season. Not exactly something that you want. You want to be able to rely on your kicker in tough situations, especially now that we're going into games in the Northeast in November, in December. Those winds are always going to be howling. Those winds are always going to be changing. We want a consistent kicker. Boswell over in Pittsburgh has a pretty good consistent leg. I mean, I would love that right now. And unfortunately, Stephen Hauschka just doesn't have that anymore. His first season with Buffalo was outstanding. His second season with Buffalo was pretty good. Now it's his third season, and it's just not looking good for Stephen Hauschka. Still time to turn it around. Again, it's just a bad game. I understand that. Hopefully he can get it corrected, but bad game for Stephen Hauschka, and it just doesn't look like it's going to get any better, and we need to be able to. And listen, I don't blame everything that happened with that 53-yard field goal on him. Again, why are you relying on your kicker to make a 53-yarder when he hasn't made a 50-yarder all season? Just is mind-boggling. But he needs to be able to make that kick. Josh's best year is next year. Sorry, guys. He needs to puke or something before the game to get rid of the yips from. I would love to see Josh Allen just continue to grow, right? Continue to grow. Don't worry so much about the long ball if you can't connect, right? Just worry about completing the passes that you can complete. If the long ball's there, we've seen some open long balls, then throw it up and see what happens. But again, just let it loose a little bit. Like Jack just said, maybe he needs to puke before every single game just to get the yips out. Scott Blakey writes, Steve is not the same, Joe. Yeah, you said that yesterday. I saw that yesterday in the post game that hashtag sports did. He hasn't been the same since the injury, and I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. Work some others out to put pressure on him, regardless of. Yeah, I agree. Since the injury against the Jets last season, he hasn't been the same. No matter what people wanted to say in the preseason, no matter what people want to say during training camp, he just has not looked the same. So hopefully it gets better. But we'll see. He still has a punchable face. You're talking about Stephen Hauschka. And then my fourth bad, we already talked about him, is Lee Smith. Again, 2 momentum-killing penalties in this game. Just can't happen. Surprised that he's actually still on the team right now. You might actually see him become one of those ineligible players pretty soon, because he definitely needs to get better at stopping with those penalties. Again, he's a walking penalty right now, and it's just a shame. Again, you see him on the sideline yesterday throwing his helmet down in frustration. Actually, that was funny. I forget who grabbed his mouthpiece from behind him. It was a linebacker, I think, and tried to hand it to him, and you just see him looking straight, so mad, gar, and it was just funny to see. But yeah, he's a walking penalty right now, and it's just a shame. We brought him in. Everyone's happy we brought him in. Former Buffalo Bill, used to play with the Bills, a good blocking tight end, and he still had some good blocks yesterday, but those 2 penalties are just way too costly, and hopefully he gets those corrected. I don't know if someone needs to talk to him, if the tight ends coach needs to take him aside, but work with him on those penalties. 2 very costly penalties in the game yesterday that really cost us. Let's talk about the good in this game, and believe it or not, guys, there's plenty of good to talk about. I know a lot of Bills fans don't want to believe that, but there's a lot of good to talk about. Some things to give us hope, I guess, if you want to. You can put a negative spin on some of these things if you want to as well, but we're not going to, at least not today. We had enough negativity over the past 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever it is. We don't need any more. It was a tough loss. I get it. Losing 19-16. The Bills fall to 6-3. But when was the last time we said the Bills fall to 6-3? Right? When was the last time we were able to say that? I mean, again, we have to take this all with a grain of salt and say, hey, the Bills are 6-3. Let's start moving in the right direction here. Let's get back on the right track against the Dolphins. Let's beat Denver at home. And then all of a sudden, you're talking about a team that's 8-3 going into that tough stretch. We have a tough stretch, but if we go in 2 of those games, right? Go 2-2 maybe. Man, this team's looking good. You're talking about a 10-5 team going into that last game against the Jets. 11-5 gets us that 5th seed, and that's fine by me. Again, it's all about getting to the dance. Once we get to the dance, we'll talk about problems then. But once we get to the dance, hey, last year the Baltimore Ravens got to the dance. They looked terrible. They looked abysmal. Is anyone complaining about Lamar Jackson right now? Lamar Jackson couldn't throw a touchdown pass to save his life in the wildcard game against the LA Chargers last year. Who's complaining about Lamar Jackson now? It takes time. These improvements will take time, and we have time. We have time. We're getting better. Again, we went 6-10 last year. We're 6-3 this year. It already seems like we're getting better. So again, let's hold out hope. Joe Paul Mario, the Mafia Dude, Rico, and Bill's Fanatics, Mad Men Sports. All you guys are my therapy. Thanks for letting me vent. Hey, Jack Patrick, anytime. Thanks for joining us from Hawaii, man. Must be, again, I think it's early afternoon there. Must be some nice temperatures. Again, you were in the 70s, I believe, yesterday. We're actually pretty nice here. We're in the 50s today, and that's not bad for us in November. Josh Allen is the answer. You can't replace his attitude, passion, and ceiling. His floor is raising slowly. With the correct amount of time, he will be elite, as we all hope, in my opinion. Scott, not only in the right amount of time, with the right coach. And that could be the problem with Brian Daboll, right? That could be the problem. Now, hopefully Ken Dorsey is the right coach, the right man for the job. And even if Brian Daboll stays offensive coordinator, we keep Ken Dorsey there as the quarterback's coach. But we'll see what happens there. I'm not going to be happy until we beat somebody. Then you might not be happy next season. You might not be happy next season. We have games against, and who do you consider somebody? Because Vegas had Cleveland winning this game, and they did. We have games against Miami and Denver, and then the Jets, right? Those are three nobodies that people would put on the schedule, right? So that's 3 wins. That's 9 wins. If we go 9-7 and make the playoffs, you're not gonna be happy, and then we lose in the wild card round like we did 2 years ago, and then we might get better during the offseason. We might. So you might not be happy. And we have 4 games: Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Dallas, and then the Patriots. So hopefully we go 2-2 in those games. Would love that. But you just never know. So going to my first positive, Kenneth Osborne just brought it up. Trey White did a fantastic, and I repeat, fantastic job against Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham was targeted 12 times in this game. 12 times. Actually, 13. There was a pass interference penalty on Trey White, but a lot of people forget about that because it turned out to be a great goal line stance, which we'll talk about as well. But Trey White did fantastic in this game. And you're talking about 12 targets for Odell. He only had 5 catches, and out of those 5 catches, he only had 57 yards. Now, a lot of those 5 catches were when Trey was playing off, and they ran a quick out to Odell just to get him a catch, just to get him into the game. So 5 catches for 57 yards for Odell, but we talk about 4 pass breakups for Tre'Davious White. He did a wonderful job on Odell, which is one of the reasons why I say that last play for Cleveland of the game, you need to give Levi Wallace the help there, not necessarily help out on Trey White. Give Levi Wallace the over-the-top help, and then we don't have to worry about that guy getting open. We know what Trey White can do in the end zone. If Odell beats us one-on-one with Trey White, we'll be mad about it, but I'm happier about that, giving Trey that opportunity, putting Trey on the call instead of giving it to Levi Wallace. So Trey White with a wonderful game, 4 pass breakups. He did a great job. Was in there a couple times on tackles too. I mean, he just was phenomenal in this game, I thought. Second positive, goal line defense. We just talked about this goal line defense. There was 2 goal line stances in this game by the Bills. The first one was an 8-play goal line stance. 8-play goal line stance. Nick Chubb, for all he did between the 20s, couldn't do anything in the red zone. Each time. And so, again, we talk about this bend, don't break type mentality. Even if it's running the ball, if we stop him to field goals, now we didn't do it twice, which ended up killing us in this game, but if we stop him to field goals, we win every single time. I know we're worried about the run. I know we need to stop the run on a more consistent basis. But unlike a lot of narratives, I thought we did a better job stopping the run than we did 2 weeks ago against the Eagles. I felt like we did better against the run than I expected us to do going against Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I really did. I know it wasn't the prettiest, but again, we didn't let them get into the end zone, and that's the key, right? I thought Nick Chubb would have a touchdown in this game. He did not. In fact, he had the ball first, second, and third and goal from the 1, and we backed him up every single time. So great job by this Buffalo Bills defense. Great defensive stance on the goal line, keeping us in this game. Again, if they score that second touchdown in the first quarter, who knows what happens in this game? Who knows if it gets out of hand at that point or not? But it doesn't. It doesn't get out of hand. 4th and goal, they decide to go for it, which, again, I was calling for a field goal at that time because that puts you up 2 scores. They decided not to do that. Made me happy once we stopped them on 4th down. That's for dang sure. Nice to see Duke active as he is a bigger target. It would be nice to see Duke active. We did talk about that. If the kicker gets the axe, does that mean the punter goes? No, not at all. I think, but it's funny because, again, we did talk about the punter, Corey Jorges, how he was last in the league in net punting yards, and yet he's still on the team. So I don't think that they are looking at a different punter at this point, and that might make Stephen Hauschka feel a little more confident in his job going into next week, because Corey Bajorges, even though he had a good game yesterday, not really consistent so far. I think he's worse in the league in kicks, punts inside the 20. That might have changed yesterday. At 3 inside the 20 yesterday, 3 out of 4 punts inside the 20, an average of 50 yards per punt. Pretty dang good, and he almost caused the only turnover in this game, right? You had the muff punt that Cleveland was, luckily for them, able to get back on top of. Could have been a turnover there, and that's all Corey Bajorges. A huge punt makes Cleveland's return guy back up. He's unable to get a good grip on the ball, muffs it. Luckily, like I said, Cleveland's able to fall on that ball yesterday. Yeah, Daniel, the punter, Corey Bajorges had a really good game yesterday. Again, averaging 50 yards a punt, 3 inside the 20. Not too bad at all. Angry Buffalo sports fans, 50s, lucky you, Joe, 7-11 inches of snow falling in Buffalo. Yeah, we're in the 50s right now. Actually feels pretty good. It's supposed to get cold tomorrow. It's supposed to drop a lot, but hey, right now we'll enjoy it as we have it. But yeah, so that's my first positive, has to be Trey White. My second positive, that goal line defense. My third positive, Corey Bajorges. Again, like I said, averaging 50 yards a punt, 3 of the 4 punts inside the 20. A really good game for him. And if we're going to knock him for every time he has a bad play or a bad game, we have to give him praise when he has a good game. My fourth positive, where they have snow, 15 degrees in Chicago. It's cold everywhere, guys. Oh my goodness. Why are you guys all cold? I'm pretty warm right now. I'm cozy. I'm liking it. My fourth positive would have to be Corey Liuget. Again, guys, we pick up Corey Liuget from free agency. He was a huge part of that goal line stance in the first quarter. I thought he had a pretty good game yesterday, disrupting the run, getting involved in this game, and especially for a guy who's only been on the team for a week, right? Only been on the team for a week, was not in a game, was not on a team for a couple weeks. So to see him in this game, to see him continue to succeed at this level, was a good sign of things to come in the future for the Buffalo Bills. A good pickup by the Buffalo Bills. Corey Liuget really liked the pickup, and it looks like it's paying off already. My fifth positive is going to be looking forward to that first snow game while we have Miami in Miami. Then we have Denver in Buffalo. So that might be the game you're looking at for the possible first snow game. That's going to be the Sunday before Thanksgiving, I believe. I think that's going to be the 20th or something like that. I don't know. It's going to be close to that, but it's 78 degrees at 5:10 p.m. It says Jack Patrick. Rub it in, man. Rub it in. Good for you. Good for you. But yeah, I think Corey Liuget has done a great job so far for the Bills in only one game. My fifth positive is Andre Roberts. Andre Roberts in that special teams game. Remember, our only touchdown drive started with a nice Andre Roberts punt return, getting the ball inside Cleveland territory. We started with the ball at the 48-yard line after a nice punt return by Andre Roberts. He had 5 kick returns for an average of 23 yards per kick return, and he had 2 punt returns for an average of 17 yards. But again, the story there is that long punt return of over 20 yards where he gets the ball inside Cleveland territory. Makes it easy for us to score. Joe, opinion, why does it take us the entire first quarter to stop the run past 4 weeks? Also, bad tackling technique Sunday. Well, again, when you're going against a guy like Nick Chubb, big guy, right? So if you're relying on the safeties and corners to make those tackles, they're not going to do it that often, right? They're just not going to. They're going to need help, and we saw that on Sunday with Nick Chubb running all over those guys, trucking a couple of them. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Buffalo Bills. It's not just the first quarter. It's definitely in the third quarter as well. It seems like coming out half, we have trouble with the run to start things off as well. But these are things that we adjust during the game. I think for as bad as Coach McDermott is as making adjustments with time management, things like that, I think that Coach Frazier does a good job in game coaching up this defense. And we saw that in this game as well. I think we did a much better job against the run in the later portions of this game. And that's all we can really ask for. The Redskins game, we did much better in the second half as well. So I think there's an adjustment there. And I think, obviously, we don't have the talent to necessarily stop the run. But I think we do a great job with scheme. And that's a big part of it. And so you have to learn the scheme. You have to figure that out. And I think Coach Frazier does a good job in-game taking care of that. Roberts is good returns, but next to nothing as a wide receiver. Yeah, absolutely. But the positives I have for him are a lot the return game. I wish that we had Duke Williams in it. I said that a couple times, but I wish we had Duke Williams in for a couple of those balls. And then my sixth positive is John Brown. John Brown again. Hey, King Cam, how you doing? Welcome to Believers Talk. Just got off of work. Had to deal with a Browns fan co-worker all day. Sorry to hear that, man. But hey, they get theirs today, right, or yesterday. But you can always tell them, look at the standings. Look at the standings. We're 6-3. They're 3-6. We look like we might have a chance at the playoffs here. They have a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. So, and we got work to do too. I'm not gonna lie. But just time to look at the standings. I got a lot of crap here when we lost to the Eagles. You know, I had to wear a Carson Wentz jersey. For those of you who didn't see, I wore a Carson Wentz jersey at work that day. On the day I returned on Tuesday. That's how bad it was here. So I hope you didn't have to wear like a Baker Mayfield jersey or nothing like that. But it was pretty bad. So consistent inconsistency, classic Bills. A win next week, and same fans are talking AFC title. A loss, death. You're absolutely right, Jake. That's the way it goes, right? We're either hot or we're cold. We can't be somewhere in the middle. We can't be meddling. That'd be terrible. But again, we are getting better, and that's what it's all about. Defense is on the field too much, and that's something else you need to talk about, right? Especially when you're talking about the bad tackling technique that happens when you get tired. The Cleveland Browns definitely won time possession in this game. I think it was 32, almost 32 minutes, and that's going to make a defense tired. And the Bills are the type of team, as Mario pointed out yesterday in Hashtag Sports, the Bills are a type of team that need to control time possession if they're going to win a game. You need to give this defense time to rest. I think that was evident yesterday that they didn't have enough time to rest on certain downs. We went 3 and out just too many times. We had a bad third down conversion rate that we didn't talk about, but wasn't that good. I think it was 33%. Not good enough. We need to do better in those categories. Some Bill fans go, and that's okay. That's okay to go to extremes, right? I'll be here to calm you all down. Hashtag Sports does a good job calming you all down. Just relax. We are 6-3, like I said. But John Brown is the first player in Bills history to have 4 or more catches in the first 9 games and 50 or more yards in the first 9 games in 9 consecutive games. So first wide receiver to do something in Bills history. That's saying something. Getting some of the wide receivers that we've had here in Buffalo. Talking about Eric Moulds, Stevie Johnson. Talking about Andre Reed, Don Beebe. Talking about James Lofton. Some of the greats back in those days. So he has 9 straight games with 4 or more receptions and 9 straight games with 50 or more yards. First Buffalo Bill player in history to do that in 9 consecutive games. So congratulations to John Brown. Again, definitely looking like a potential number 1 receiver. Now, again, we probably want to get another wide receiver in there, a real wide receiver number 1. But he's doing his best right now, and he's doing a good job. I think he's always doing. John Brown was a great signing. You're absolutely right. He was. So he's doing a good job for the Buffalo Bills. I think that obviously you could see that Josh Allen targets him maybe a little too much, maybe trying to force him the ball at times, especially on that 3rd and 3 play. Again, we see Cole Beasley on the other hash, wide open, just sitting there on that 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 4 at the end of the game. Would easily get another 10, 15 yards, but he tries to force the ball to John Brown. Don't forget AB, says Jack Patrick. Yeah, AB was here for a quick second, right? And luckily for that, really happy that he did not come to Buffalo now. And then my 7th positive, and you can take this for what it is, but the Buffalo Bills are now the only team this season to not allow a 100-yard receiver. So we're the only team to not allow a 100-yard receiver. Now, a lot of you could say, well, that's because the run game so the run defense is so bad that teams run it most of the time. But we just went up against Odell Beckham and Landry, and neither one of them got over 100 yards against us. I think that's a win for the Buffalo Bills. Talk about some of the wide receivers we faced. We go against the Patriots, going up against Tom Brady. He doesn't throw a wide receiver for over 100 yards. You go up against the Eagles, no one there goes over 100 yards. I mean, not too bad. Why play for the tie? Yeah, King Cam, I talked about that. This coaching staff, the moment I heard Coach McDermott say that, I was so disappointed. And I'm someone who's always liked Coach McDermott, but when I heard him say that, man, it was tough to hear. It was really tough to hear. So, but those are my positives and negatives from this game. I'm going to continue to read some of your comments here as they go off. Again, guys, happy Veterans Day. I hope you guys wished all the veterans in your life happy Veterans Day and said thank you for all that they've done for their service. The men and women in uniform can never say enough to show our appreciation to them. So again, I hope that you guys have wished all the veterans in your life happy Veterans Day and said thank you. I posted a video earlier today thanking all the veterans that not just in my life but around everybody, and I also pointed out some of the veterans that had previously played in the NFL or currently playing in the NFL. I actually have 2 NFL players that currently play in the NFL that are also in the military. So go ahead and check that video out if you haven't already. But again, happy Veterans Day to you all. Easy for me to say happy Veterans Day when I'm also off for the day too. Glad to get the day off, but just glad to be able to say thank you to the veterans in my life. So again, happy Veterans Day to all. Those are my positives and negatives from this game. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Again, if you haven't already subscribed to Bill-ievers Talk, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment, guys. Again, let me know what you think about this game. Again, the Bills fall to 6-3, but when was the last time you were able to say the Bills fall to 6-3? Smash that like button, says Daniel Garis. Absolutely, guys. Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Again, on Wednesday, I'll go ahead and give you my pick'em videos. I feel terrible having you look at my pick'em videos from last week because, man, there were a lot of upsets yesterday. A lot of upsets, and it wasn't pretty for my pick'em, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure it's going to be bad this week. But every Wednesday, I'll drop my pick'em videos for you guys, giving you my picks against the spread and straight up. Every Thursday during halftime of Thursday Night Football, I go ahead and go live pre-gaming the game coming up next week. So this Thursday, I'll be pre-gaming the game against the Miami Dolphins. Again, the second game against the Dolphins. We beat them at home. Let's hope we can beat them in Miami as well. Good chat, Joe. Thank you, Daniel, very much. Thanks again, Joe. Great work. Thank you very much. And then on Sunday, I'll be right here. I'll be live for play-by-play and reaction to the game between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. So like I said, go ahead and subscribe to Bill-ievers Talk if you haven't already. I look forward to talking to you all soon. And again, go over to hashtag sports. Link in the description below. Subscribe to them. Bill-ievers Talk teaming up with BewareTheStampede.com. Beware the Stampede just started a podcast. So if you're interested in podcasts, go BewareTheStampede.com. Jeremy has you hooked up there with a new podcast. And so we like to hear new content from him. Have some writings on there, and you'll find me over there as well. So go BewareTheStampede.com. And as always, guys, I'll talk to you all soon. Till I do, go Bills.